Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone that has just tuned in to Prosperity for Your Soul this wonderful Thursday morning. My name is Sister Lungi. As usual, please share with us who you are, where you're joining us from, which part of the country, which part of the continent of Africa, which part of the world you have joined us from. It's an exciting topic today that we'll be delving into. We will be talking about all things women's health, but specifically, actually, we will be talking about um, and our day-to-day products that we use, for our menstrual cycle as well for women. And please, if you are men and you've popped in and you're hearing women's health, menstrual cycle, please don't leave, don't go. Because this is also just as important for you too, because you are surrounded by women. You have a daughter, you have a girlfriend, you have a wife, you work with female employees, you have employees that are female, and you definitely want to share this information with them just to make the world a better place, because everything is just interconnected. So we are here in studio, well, not in studio, but we are live today with Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth Apostolov, who is just an absolutely amazing human being, who is all things menstrual cycles, who's the founder and CEO of She Power. And she will tell us all about that in the show just shortly. So please keep them coming, your introductions, where you're joining us from, and please just those emojis to express how you're feeling this wonderful Thursday morning. So just before we get into the show, I just want to remind you all that we have a great lineup, as you know, right, from Monday to Friday, with mentorship sessions happening on Monday. Tuesday, there's absolutely something also going on there with Dr. Nellie and her wonderful team, right? We have Prosperity for Your Soul on Thursday. We have Wednesday market days. We have Fridays, and just for you to also keep your heads tuned into all the wonderful health related information that we are updated on a Friday weekly basis. So please stay tuned every single day. There's absolutely something amazing happening on this platform. 8 a.m., 7:30. Keep your eyes glued on the page. Okay, so we are gathered here today, right? Raising an alarm really on just something that has happened. I'm sure most of us women in the continent, particularly in the Southern Hemisphere, have seen the article that has been released by the University. The University of the Free State published an article that outlined just some of the products that we are using, okay, for our menstrual cycles, for our periods, as women, as girls, as menstruators. And these products have been found to contain certain, ingredients, substances that are toxins, okay, to our bodies as women, as girls. And these products include toxins that are, classified as endocrine disruptors. Okay, so what endocrine disruptors are? They are simply hormonal disruptors. That's what the word endocrine means. So when these things come into contact with us in our bodies, they interfere with the receptors, right, that are inside our bodies. They either inhibit or induce the production, or they just increase the levels of certain hormones. So specifically for women, what these can do is that they can elevate certain hormones such as estrogen in the body, right? They can interfere with our thyroid functioning. They can interfere with our metabolism, right? And just cause all sorts of diseases such as diabetes and all those metabolic diseases as well that are related to everything that we use on a daily basis. So rounding it down and just really narrowing it down to the female reproductive system, what the increase of estrogen can do, right, is that it can cause certain cancers. It can interfere with fertility. It can cause chronic reproductive diseases such as endometriosis, and it can also cause polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is commonly known as PCOS. It can also cause uterine fibroids, right? Because what an increased level of estrogen does in the body is that it can interfere with the lining of the uterus, which is called the endometrium. And what the endometrium can do is that it can proliferate at an extra ordinary level or rate, right? And the tissues can spread to other parts of the body. The endometrium lining can also develop certain growths, which we call fibroids. And also it can interfere with our breasts as well and cause tumors and certain growths and cysts as well. And I know the article did say that, it's only little amounts that have been found of these endocrine disruptors inside the menstrual products. But what happens is that if this is used, on a continuous basis, like you can just imagine for women, we use menstrual products every day. And these are popular brands that not only affect like South African women, but they are international brands. I'm sure, women around the continent actually use these products as well. So because we use these things like every month, and for those of us who use daily panty liners, use them every single day, so you can just imagine the daily use of a product, the amount of impact that it can actually have on your body. And I know some of us are probably thinking, oh no, but how does it have an impact on my body? Because it just sits, it just barely touches my skin. If you use a tampon, you just like, it just sits there, it doesn't really go inside, like a pessary or a suppository, it just sits there. But actually what we are not aware of is that our skin is actually a living organism. It's an organ, okay? Whatever gets in contact with the skin, whatever touches the skin, does impact the skin. It impacts our well-being. It enters our bloodstream because our skin is actually very, very absorbent, okay? And more so, the layer of our skin that is inside, the female vagina, which is called the mucosa layer, it is extremely porous, and it is able to absorb so much more than just the surface layer of our skin. So it is quite important as women to just bear this in mind, that our skin, whatever we put on it, even our lotions that we use every day, gets absorbed and affects our body. It affects our hormones. And so hence why we are gathered here today, to just really talk about, what is it that we can do now that this information is out there, now that we know that, okay, some of these products contain these harmful substances. We're probably thinking and asking ourselves, is there an alternative? What is it that I can maybe do to detox these things from my body? Is there a way to live and just go about my lifestyle on a cleaner, more sustainable manner? And the answer to that is actually yes, there is. There are ways, there are alternatives, and we are going to discuss one of those in the show today. And hence why we have Dr. Ruth on the line. Again, she is the founder and CEO of menstrual cups called She Power. And I think I'll just hand it over to you, Dr. Ruth. Like, what do you think this has caused amongst women around the continent? And as the menstrual cup is available and you are just an expert around the subject matter, what do you think this can really do for women as a game changer to going about our cycles in a more healthier, sustainable way? Over to you, Dr. Ruth.
Thank you. Good morning, Sister Lungi, and a very good morning to the listeners. And thank you so much to Dr. Nellie for entrusting us on your platform.
Okay. I'm not sure if it's just on my end, but I can't really hear you very well, Dr. Ruth.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I think we might have lost Dr. Ruth. Okay, there she's
I'm
back
here.
on. Dr. Ruth, are you still with us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
The only thing is that we're just not hearing your audio very well, so I'm not quite sure what's going on.
maybe we should ask the listeners if they can hear me. Are you able to tell? Can you hear me clearly? I think it's a problem on your end. But thank you so much for having me on today. And thank you to Dr. Nellie for entrusting us on your platform that I know you hold very sacred. And I think it's an opportune moment to speak directly to not just the South African women, but to the women on the African continent at large. It's a time when the country's asking, what is truly safe now as a safe menstrual health option? So with the recent concerns about the potentially unsafe menstrual products, it's important that we have these open dialogues about the safe solutions that is not only grounded in safety, but also in science. So I'm here today to share how medically alternative solutions like the She Power menstrual cups can offer women safe options backed by rigorous safety evaluations and, of course, international safety standards. So the public fear right now is based on the fact that there's now been discussions of chemical absorption, there's been discussions of hormone disruptions, and of course, all the unknown textile components that are in these products. And very importantly, the lack of transparency in the ingredients and in the lack of transparency in the brandings in general. So what the women are now asking, what now? What is safe? And we are here to safely tell you that the ladies should now consider medical grade solutions as a responsible alternative switch. So let's understand from the outset what a menstrual cup is. A menstrual cup is not a textile hygiene product. A menstrual cup is a classification as a class 2 medical device. And that classification changes everything. So unlike disposable pads and tampons, which are regulated as just consumer absorbent goods, a menstrual cup is a class 2 medical device that is subject to strict oversight, right from raw material, right through the entire manufacturing processing, sterilization controls, testings, and the quality assurance. Now, women might say, well, why are we going into so much of science and technical stuff? It's because we have let those areas lag behind that we are in a state of fear right here as the women are in South Africa. It's because we never made it our business to question the big brands. What is in my products? We're very quick to read medicine labels and food labels, but we've never made it our responsibility to read labels on our period product. I mean, a period is not an episodic event. A period is something that we women go through every single month. For me personally, I've menstruated for 43 years. When we look at that amount of time, we cannot afford to put that health, our reproductive health, our hormonal system, which is will start as a primary problem, but lead to a myriad of other secondary health problems. We cannot leave that to chance. So the fact of the matter that we have not read labels, insisted on ingredient markings on these brands is really on us as consumers, because we have taken for granted that brands that have got these deep pockets and they have these beautiful advertisements, and we've saying, well, if it's an international brand, it must mean to be safe. I think now we're going through a proper schooling where we're really stopping and we're saying, my health is up to me to do my homework, and it's up to me to be intentional. So a menstrual cup is classified as a class 2 medical device. So in no way is there ever a comparison even close to a pad and a tampon, and how that is manufactured. When we talk about a class 2 medical device, it's similar to, we manufacture from a medical facility, which environment is conducive to an environment where you make urinary catheters, cannulas, infusion devices, and so on. So these devices are designed for direct contact with internal tissues. So that means they must be manufactured in a controlled medical environment that demonstrates biocompatibility even before it reaches the public. So with the menstrual cup, the raw material has to be medical grade silicone and ensure biocompatibility. So the environment is conducive to producing medical production standards, and it meets the ISO 100993, which is a biological evaluation testing. So it demonstrates non-toxicity, non-sensitization, and non-irritation. And it had to prove that tissue compatibility, that it's compatible for tissue for internal use. And in the case of the She Power menstrual cup, it has undergone all those rigorous testing, and it is fully resulted in a full zero irritation index. And it's proven safe for repeated use, intravaginal use, under international standards. So when we talk about safety in the current climate, we must clearly distinguish between a product that absorbs unknown material externally and a regulated medical device for internal use that is manufactured under medical conditions, and it's scientifically tested for tissue safety. And we're very proud to say that She Power has gone through all those rigorous testings. So now that we understand that, just to run through a few health benefits of a menstrual cup. It's hypoallergenic, which means there's low to no risk of allergic reactions. It's biocompatible, which means it's safe for contact with the internal body tissue. It's non-cytotoxic. It does not damage or kill your living cells. It's non-irritant to the vaginal tissue. So the irritation index is 0.00. It's pH neutral, ladies, so which means we will never upset the pH of our vagina, which in turn harms the microbiome, which in turn gives you those damaging thrush, and that eventually causes vaginosis. It's free from chlorines and bleaches and chemicals, and it's free from absorbent synthetic fibers. So there's, for prolonged use internally, we say a menstrual cup is safe to use up to 12 hours. It absolutely, I can go on and on and on in terms of how safe a menstrual cup is. But like with everything, a menstrual cup is not for everyone. A menstrual cup is a very soft medical device, and it's very, very flexible, and it's beautiful to the touch. Or we're going to do a quick 2-minute showing, which is very important. First of all, let me take this time to debunk some myths. A menstrual cup will not cause a virgin to lose her virginity. A menstrual cup will not cause the vaginal muscle to stretch. A lot of women saying, well, I don't want to be in a position where it stretches my vagina and I'm not able to pleasure my husband or that kind of thing. You got to understand your vagina is a muscle contracts and a muscle expands. That is the function of a muscle. And there is no way that a medical silicone period product is going to stretch your vaginal muscle. So just a quick, we've debunked that myth. It will not upset your pH level. It will not cause thrush. It's hypoallergenic. And yet again, it's biocompatible. So now that, just a quick insert and removal video. So all you do, it's really, really so simple. One of two folds. You would either fold it in half into a C fold, or my favorite fold, I'm just going to go straight through to it, which is a push down. You just take your finger and you push it down and you get this point. Then you've got to relax, because your vagina, yet again, is a muscle. When you are nervous, your muscle is going to contract. You need to relax, you need to breathe, and you need to be excited about this journey, about you switching to a safe medical period alternative. All you do is when you wash your hands, you do your favorite fold, which is all on our website, and we will ask Dr. Nellie to also put this on a platform. So at any point in time when you ladies decide to switch and you've forgotten how to insert it, or once you insert it, you forgot it how to remove it, it's really, really, really simple. So now that you've washed your hands, you've got your favorite fold, you need to elevate your leg either on the toilet seat or on wherever. And then you just breathe and you elevate your leg, and all you do is you insert it into your vaginal canal. Now, your vaginal canal intersects with the cervix. So there is no way that this menstrual cup is going to go and get lost in any body part. It can only go as high as it can go. So the very, very often asked question is, how do I know the size of the menstrual cup? A menstrual cup, we make them in small, medium, and large. And the size of the cup is dependent on the height of the cervix. So the science says that a girl that's 18 and under would need a small because her cervix is lower. But then some would say, yes, I'm 18 years old. You'd say I need a small, but what happens if I'm a heavy bleeder? So all that means is the heavy bleeder will remove it, which I'm going to show you how to remove it, and they will empty it out between 5 and 7 hours, whereas the regular bleeder will empty it out up to 12 hours later. You go about your business, you insert it in the morning as I've shown you, or whenever your period starts. You go about your business, you go to the bathroom as usual, you do not remove the menstrual cup. It sits in your vaginal canal, and the menstrual cup's job is to collect blood. Unlike a pad and a tampon, it absorbs the blood. A menstrual cup's job is to collect the blood. And the beautiful thing about that, when it collects the blood, you're able to see the color of the blood, because a healthy blood has a specific amount of platelets and it has a very specific shade and tone of color. So that is how I discovered I was low-grade anemic, is one day when I took out my cup and I was dropping it into my sink, and I saw that it was almost like a separation of the platelets, and I saw it was quite a bit more pinker than it was red. And then when I sent that, I took a picture of the blood that's in the white sink, and I sent it to my doctor, and she said, go and have bloods done. And my results came back that I was low-grade anemic. And they always say that the life is in the blood. And that's a beautiful thing about a menstrual cup, is that when it's collecting the blood, you can see exactly what is happening. You can see the color of your blood. You can see there's a certain amount of clotting that is normal on the first 2 days or 3 days of your period, because at that time when you're having your period, the body's shedding its lining, its tissues, it's shedding some mucus, etc., etc. So a certain amount of clotting is normal, versus when there's women that clots like chunks of liver, and that is abnormal. So that is a beautiful thing about a menstrual cup, because it's collecting the blood. You're able to understand the shades of it, the amounts of clotting, and then you'll be able to say, okay, this looks normal. Oh no, this is not normal. I need to go and see my gynecologist, or I need to go to a clinic. So now you've got it sitting into your vaginal canal. You've gone to work, you've got to school. If you're a heavy bleeder, you can on the first day, they say, well, how do you monitor? How often do I need to empty it? I'm going to get to that. So say, for example, you've gone for your 5 hours, or for me, 12 hours, and I'm now back home, or I need to empty it out. All you do is very simple. You put your hands, you feel for the stem, you pinch this base. When you inserted it, it formed a vacuum here, so that when you're swimming, when you're gymming, when you're doing headstands, when you're lying and you're sleeping, because you must sleep with it, you must gym with it, you must really live life without limits. So you've done all that. So now you're ready to have your change. You just simply put your finger, you feel the stem, you just simply press the base, and you pinch it out and you remove it. When you pinch it and you take it out like this, the suction and the vacuum that was formed when you inserted it, you break that suction. So all you do is you empty it into your toilet or your basin or your sink or whatever you call it, whatever you have access to, you empty it out. And if you just have a little bit of water, you rinse it, you reinsert it, you continue your day, or you continue going to bed with it, and the next day you remove it and you press repeat. So how would you know, very quickly in 1 minute, how would you know? The most important question is when to change it. On your first, and the beautiful thing about a period, I always tell the students at school or the ladies, you can get a menstrual cup and you can start practicing today. You can put it on today before you start your period. You can say, okay, for today, I'm going to just put it on. I'm going to practice it and I'm going to go to work with it. Go to work with it, go to the bathroom, whatever. When you get home, remove it and you practice it. Go practice going to the bathroom with it, practice sleeping with it. So when your period does arrive, you're already experience with it. So you're already a little ahead of yourself with the experience and with the feeling of having the menstrual cup. The silicone is really beautiful. Your vaginal area is a moist area. So when you insert a menstrual cup, this medical silicone literally goes into your warm vaginal canal and it takes the shape of your vagina. You don't have to worry about anything. It's a very good example. It's like putting a glove on your hand. Your glove will take the shape of whatever your hands. If you've got a big thumb or a small short finger, a glove will take that shape of your hand. So it's just like that. When you insert it into your vaginal canal, it beautifully fits in, it pops, and it forms a suction here. So there's no oxidization, there's no backflow, there's no leakage. If on your first attempt you find that you have a bit of a leakage, that means somewhere when you're inserting it, it's sitting unpopped. So all you have to do is just pinch it, take it out, or while it's still in you, just twist it a little bit so that it pops open. Otherwise, lady, this is 21st century period. It's time for us to be intentional. We must get fear aside, because you know what they say, fear is really your mind. And a lot of things we fear when we do it. I think now it's a case of it's been proven to be dangerous XYZ products. What is there that's a 21st century sustainable option, healthier option? This menstrual cup is reusable for over 10 years. It's virtually indestructible. It's safe on the planet. You literally, it's a game changer. I'm going to stop there, and perhaps we can just see Lungi can take over from here just to round up with some medical aspects. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm not sure if we've lost Lungi, but we will put up the contact details on the site. If you want to get a hold of She Power, there's a She Power helpline. We will put up the contact details, and there is a website for the She Power store. And also we are looking for resellers throughout the African continent, because Africa's got to understand localization is important, and we African people have got to get it out of our mind that African products are substandard. You got to understand we are women of excellence. We are entering the manufacturing and other spaces of influences, and you got to understand that these mandates that we carry, these are kingdom mandates, and we operate nothing but excellence for the kingdom that we are representing here on earth. So your health is important to us. Your well-being is important to us. The next generation and them being empowered with positive ways of managing an issue that is a God-given issue that should not be a burden to a woman. And we just want to say to all women that period is dignity. And we at She Power, we're all about giving periods dignity and giving dignity, period.